The pandemic had been especially rough on TSN's Montreal reporter John Liu. He had been hospitalized with a severe case of COVID-19 and lost his sister last October. As vaccines roll out and fans return to the stands, John wanted to do something to mark this turning point. So he turned to his friend and tailor, Pellgrino Castronovo. Together, the friends designed and created a shocking combination of the least and most formal men's clothing, a three-piece sweatsuit. The response is unlike anything John or Pele has ever seen. Well, I'm not a fashion guy, but that got my attention. Welcome to the Business Heroes, where we talk to business owners about their journey. I am joined today by Pellgrino Castronovo, bespoke tailor in Montreal, and John Liu, his friend and, kind of walking clothes horse, who they collaborate together a lot. He's a reporter for TSN in Montreal, and they have come up with this incredible suit. John's wearing it now. We can see it a little bit. Here, let me give you the best look at it right here. Who came up with this crazy idea?
Craig, I had the concept in my head and brought it to Pele probably back in January of this year. And as you mentioned in your introduction, it's something that was born out of the pandemic, really. That for the last 15 months, not a word of a lie, any virtual interview that I've done, whether it's been for work or when I was on your show last fall, one-on-one interviews, you name it, I have been wearing either shorts or sweatpants, pajama bottoms, t-shirts, hoodies. Almost never am wearing my quote-unquote work clothes unless it's something that's being broadcast specifically onto TSN. And so getting used to working in such a casual environment, when I did have to put dress clothes back on, so to speak, especially dress pants, would have been about August last year when the Montreal Canadiens were heading into the playoff bubble in Toronto. Thought this just isn't comfortable, like getting accustomed to wearing work clothes again. And
for a lot of people, they don't fit anymore either.
Oh, this is true. Yes, I did have some issues with some of my pants, and I think I did have to bring one or two pairs to Pele for adjustments. And so back in January, I thought, well, there's got to be some way that I can combine the two, like ultimate comfort, but something that's still a business suit. But I wanted to do something that was like fun. I wouldn't say celebratory, although the end of the pandemic is. There is a celebration in some ways for all of us to be able to slowly transition back into our somewhat normal lives. And so this suit is kind of a symbol of, looking forward to better days. In addition to the fact its utility and its function, it's incredibly comfortable.
Let's get to that in a minute.
Okay.
Pele, when he brought you this idea, what did you think?
I had to get my mind around it. It was see, John, when he presented it to me, he already had a name for it. He already had his visions, strong in his mind. He called it the post-pandemic suit. He knew it was a Zoom suit. He knew what he wanted, and I always tried to get to the feel of why a person wants something. So I was more digesting that. Why would somebody need that? Why would somebody want that? We knew that there was going to be change happening, but I was trying to get inside John's head because he's a thinker. John's a thinker. He's a deep thinker, and there's always an emotional hidden reason for most of all his ideas. So I was trying to dig into that. I know he had a very difficult year. I remember all the aspects of his year. It was very hard. And then he comes with this idea. So I was trying to digest that and giving it the respect of what he just been through the year. But he kind of put his feelings on the side and thought about his viewers. And he's like, I want to celebrate the next step with the viewers together, that this is all over, because I'm sure there's a lot of viewers who are going through the same thing that I went through. And he wanted to bring this out in a way, so and make people feel good and smile and understand that there's going to be something new to visually, to our feelings, and to express that through his thought and clothing. I was more into to try to get that idea, extract that idea. So it took me about a week to 2 weeks of communication with John, just to
Sure.
get the essence of that.
But Pelle, John, how much did you tell Pelle about what you had in mind? How close to what you have did you describe?
It was pretty basic, Craig. My concept was a 3-piece suit, but the essentials to it were sweatpants, or, well, if you want to be less informal about it, joggers. And because I had you can call them joggers, and there's a
Never heard that.
well, there's a luxe connotation to it, and so it doesn't sound quite so high school gym classes.
Yeah, tracksuit is the one that's kind of, for me, the step up from sweatsuit, right?
Yes.
Sweatsuit, you're pounding meat in a frozen locker with Rocky. But, so it was pretty basic description, right?
Yeah, and the hoodie was with the 3-piece suit, of course. Generally, it's going to be a vest, a sleeveless vest.
And it was a 3-piece suit that you proposed?
Yes. And generally, a vest will be button up. But I thought that, we're talking about post-pandemic 2021. And Pelle and I had talked about how the fact that a lot of his clients are moving away from formal, traditional business wear. Men who would normally wear suits and ties. It's almost like the tie is going to become an accessory of the past, right? And so I thought, well, what other elements can we bring to this outfit that would make it a little bit of a step forward, an acknowledgement of changing style and fashion for businessmen's wear? And I mean, this is not everybody's going to be able to wear this, but I thought, well, why not make it a hoodie, right? Why not turn the vest into a hoodie, but not a button-up vest, but a zipper vest?
All right. So, Pelle, when you got those instructions, what did you do next?
Visualize it. Just visualize it. Visualize somebody. Everything looks beautiful when you draw it, but picturing somebody moving in it, would the vest look good if John wanted to go with Italian loafers? Would a zipper vest look good with that? Would a zipper vest? It wouldn't. Would a zipper vest look good if it was an angled bottom? It wouldn't. Taking those ideas, and it was just more about multing it over, getting the idea of how to make it work, how to make that. John has a lot of ideas. He has a lot of ideas, beautiful ideas, and I think we spent, I don't know, a dozen hours just talking about buttons.
Was it that much?
Or we go back on our phones, and we talk about a pleat of the pant. Would a pleat work? Would a pleat won't work? How would it look with the whole ensemble?
Could you get a pleat on that? You'd have to sew the pleat in, right?
There's a pleat on it.
Really?
Yeah. It made the pants a bit more versatile, but still romantic, to move it away from the joggers, but still bring it into the family. So you could actually see it in one of the pictures. When you zoom in, you can see there was a pleat on it. So there was thoughts on every detail of the process. So it was a fun collaboration. It was a fun idea, but there was a lot to make the whole thing in harmony,
And how long did it take you to come up with the design?
It actually took until the end. It took like 3 months, 4 months, because as you're making it, you're realizing that that zipper won't work. It's too feminine, or it's too dainty, or it's too generic, and you're like, it won't work. We have to change it. So we're changing things as we go along, because it's never been done. So the shoulder pads, the lining, the pleat, the pocket, vertical pockets versus horizontal pockets for the vest, the hoodie. It wants it detachable. So the hoodie is actually detachable. It could be removed, so you could wear it as a vest. You could be put back. So we're looking at the different aspects of the vest. The shoulder pads, the sleeve. If you look at the sleeve, it's comfortable. It can move with you. and it's not going to restrict you when you're talking. So there's different aspects that it took the whole length of time. We got 80% done on the initial concept, but afterwards it's all those fine tuning details.
All right, so let's talk about some of those details in the suit, because I think everyone's going to be interested in those, because that's where these things really come alive, right? And for anybody listening to this on the podcast, you may want to switch to the video for this stuff. But let's say here's the wide shot of John in the suit. Now, like the first thing that stood out to me when I looked at it, even wide, is that it's got an elastic cuff on the pants.
Yeah.
And that's the jogger part of it, Craig. That was there was never a thought in my head that it should be a finished bottom, like a finished cuff, like a traditional pant. That the part and parcel of the full concept is that they would be these pants would be joggers. And along with that, and I didn't mention it, but you can see it in the wide shot, is that the design was intended to be worn with some of my Air Jordans. You will never see me wearing leather shoes with this suit, because they just don't work. The suit is not designed to be worn with traditional dress shoes. And the fact is that, again, after the pandemic, I don't want to wear leather dress shoes anymore. They just aren't comfortable. So again, every element in this suit is geared towards comfort, including the sneakers.
And the drawstring on the hood. I mean, that's one of the things that really stands out when you look at this suit. Even if you're looking at a distance, you go, well, that just doesn't belong there, right? This is something different.
I'll let Pelly, you can mention that to Craig, because that was something that was a fine detail that came in right toward the end.
Yeah, once we did the hood, we felt there was something missing. We felt there was an aspect of it missing, and we wanted to bring in another detail to keep on blending all the pieces together. So how much, if the inside vest overlapped the outside with the hood and with a tassel by the front, it would allow it to blend. It will allow the whole suit to start to speaking. It's all these subtle details. You spoke about the elastic too at the bottom. The elastics usually are about 1/2 inch to 1 inch wide. We knew that John will be showcasing his Air Jordans. So we wanted to give respect to the shoe. We wanted to bring your eyes towards the shoe. So we went higher on the cuff to a 2-inch elastic, emphasizing the shoe to stand out and to give it the prominence and to give the look that we want, versus a more puffier bottom, a less elastic. So we're kind of crowning the shoe with that cuff and making sure that the shoe stands out. And those shoes that John chose really brings in the essence. We need an inspiration part. The shoes were that inspiration where it could start to speak, and you get the vibe. You even walk different when you're walking in Jordans versus leather shoes.
And how do you pair a tie with that? We don't see the tie too well. How do you pair a tie with that outfit?
That tie, Craig, is a camo print. And so if any tie that I'm going to wear with it, and shirt for that matter, but primarily the tie, it has to have a little bit of edge, something that's not quite so traditional. Like if I wore like a very thick silk tie that's kind of a traditional or a standard 3-inch width, it's not going to look good with that suit, because that's just not a traditional suit. And so it's made to be worn with narrower ties, with a little bit edgier print or fun, but not not like Looney Tunes cartoon fun,
right?
Like something that just would be
like a Tasmanian devil tie, like I have in my
that just it's the details. All the details have to blend, and that comes down to the accessories that have to be matched with it.
Did it have a belt?
That's it's interesting that you bring that up too, Craig. Is that the waistband on in the pant is a finished waistband. It's not an elastic waistband like a sweat pant, and that's something that most people would not think to question, simply because they think, okay, well, it's like a sweatsuit, so it's got to have an elastic waist like a pair of sweatpants. But no, it's a finished waist. So it really is a dress pant with jogger bottoms, and so it's the whole suit is a hybrid. Like you said again in the introduction, that it's a blend between formal and casual, like the extremes that have come together in one.
And Pelle, why did you opt for that as a waistband on this suit?
It also blends in with the vest. So if the vest, because once you have a vest, a man doesn't button his jacket, right? So you have the vest, so a man leaves the jacket open. Then we notice, I'm going to tell you the ripple effect, okay, to get to the waistband.
Mm-hmm.
So the vest, we notice a typical vest has points at the bottom. And if you go back to the picture, it's straight. That detail would have killed the whole suit. If we made it to a point like a traditional vest, this was the idea in the beginning, it would have killed the whole look. It would have made it somebody trying to adjust, trying to fit their patterns into there. So what we did is, after figuring out that the problem was those points, we have to make it straight, the bottom of the vest. We noticed that that the belt will show sometimes. And we want it clean. We want that area clean as possible. We don't want it bunched up. We don't want tassels on the bottom. We want it as clean as possible, because the bottom is transitioning into a jogger. The top is transitioning to the jogger. Let the middle part kind of have a resting ground where your eyes are not needing to figure it out, too much change. So based from the vest, we knew after that, we're not going to make an elastic waistband. We're not going to make it with jog strings or anything like that to have it dangling down, which I think also John was always very conscious about respecting his industry too. He's on TSN. It's a prominent showcase television station where he can't go dress in jogging pants, right? So he always balanced the respect of blending it in, keeping the bar, keeping that limit, but dancing on that limit, right?
Well, we're going to talk about that reaction in a minute and all the reactions, but there's one more element I want to talk about.
Yes.
And that is, the hood. I can't see too much from this picture, but what's the material inside the hood, and what actually is the material the suit is made of?
So the material inside the hood is a bamber lining. It's made to blend, to have a subtle contrast without drawing too much of attention, because the attention is on the hood. So we don't want the eye to go colorful inside and to have different patterns. We did want to have a slight contrast, so we didn't do it with the same fabric on the outside and the inside. We want people to know that there's a hood. And we went along with just that little detail, just to see the contrast when people could pick it up right away.
Yeah, I mean, that's something that makes it look, one of the details that really makes it look like a suit and not more sweatpants. Is that lining. That's one of the things that jumped out at me. And the other one is on John's left lapel. You see some of the little, I'm not sure what those call. I thought those are, a corsage placement, but it looks
buttonholes.
Yeah, buttonhole. Sorry, but it looks more. It still has some real sweatsuity feel to it. So, what for each of you? I'll start with Pelle. What has been the reaction to this in your industry?
In my industry, in the fashion industry, are you referring to?
Yeah, from your colleagues. What have you heard from your colleagues?
Very cool. Very cool. There's always a sense of, we're designers, all of us. So there's always a sense of, how come I didn't think of this first? Well, am I going to do it after? Am I going to be that second copycat? So it's kind of like, good job. And
you just stole my lunch. It's like comedians who can't laugh at somebody else's joke, right? Because then they're not funny.
Yeah.
Right? You took everybody's clever.
Right. So, but in the industry, everything's respected once you kind of when you kind of bring something new to the industry. It's always respected, but there's that healthy competition.
Right. Now, John, when I worked at TSN, which is admittedly a long time ago, one of the announcers asked if he could grow a beard, and the response from management was, "Well, sportscasters don't really have beards, do they?" Which to me is such a follower mentality, which means they're not always responsive to new things. How were they? And I know it's different management and it's a long time ago. How was, people inside TSN and Bell Media, what was the response from them to the suit?
Well, the hosts who were on the anchor's desk that night, I wore the suit for Game 4 of the Montreal Winnipeg series. So that would have been Monday, I forget the date, 4 days ago.
Mm-hmm.
The 6th of June, 6th, 17th. In any event, Game 4. And so I did 2 post-game hits, and both hosts that I was doing my live hits with, when they could actually see me on camera, they were stunned, and impressed. They liked the look so much, because it is something that's really outside the box as far as traditional men's suitings. And so if that was a barometer for how it was received around the network in general, well, then it was a very positive response. I haven't heard directly from any supervisory managerial staff, but if they didn't like it, I would have heard by now.
Yeah. No news is good news in that
Right.
regard. And did you make any type of announcement to let them know this suit was coming?
No, but you know what? Over the years, Craig, they've been very, especially since I moved to Montreal, and since Pelly started doing my garments, which has been almost 13 years now. Pelly has really developed a look, an image for me that our network has adopted as part of what my on-air presence is like. And so really there isn't really any sort of backlash or phone calls saying it's like, don't wear that again. Right. I mean, that's happened in the past many years ago, but not since I moved to Montreal, though.
Let's talk about that just a little bit, because it's an interesting relationship. And just to give an idea of the type of things you've done, here's one that I really like, because this goes back to my day a long time ago at TSN.
Yes, the OG
where you went with the old, what do they call them, the light bulbs or the tennis balls logo. I mean, that's a very classic TSN look to bring back. And there was a time when that wouldn't have gone over, but from what I understood, that was very well received too.
Well, you know what, colleagues, viewers, fans, they absolutely loved it, but I did do that rogue, so to speak, and so Pelly did have to take the patch off.
Better to beg forgiveness than ask permission, right?
Exactly, yeah. But I mean, the response was tremendous. But the fact was that we did it. My concept with that was there was TSN's 35th anniversary. Mm-hmm. And so Pelly and I started speaking about that over the course of the summer and saying, hey, let's do this for the fall. And it worked. It did. People responded to it exceptionally well. But, I did get, I was informed that it's like, well, that was not an official part of TSN's 35th anniversary. And so the not so subtle inference is that, don't wear that again.
Yeah,
right?
You're still working. It worked out.
Well, we removed the patch, but the patch though, yes, I am still working too. Like that was a couple of years ago now. But Craig, the thing about the patch, and this is one of the details that, this was an all-timer. Like Pelly sourced an embroidery company, an artisan to actually do the patch from scratch. I didn't get the patch from TSN. Yeah. So I think you told me, Pelly, that there's like 10,000 stitches in the patch, to replicate the TSN logo, the OG TSN logo.
That's amazing.
So, but it's like
so let me just get to your relationship a little bit. I mean, that's a great thing. John, you have made your fashion part of your branding, right? That is part of who you are. That's part of your on-air persona. But you're not just branding yourself. You're not representing just yourself. You're representing TSN too. How do you balance those two things?
I guess Pelly has a saying, when it comes to wardrobe, one of the guiding principles is speak, don't shout. And So yes, some of the garments that I wear, some of the concepts that Pelle and I have brought to life, brought to fruition, like this suit. I mean, it's very original, but at the same time, I don't feel like it's something that's going to be so distracting that people aren't going to listen to what I'm actually saying as I'm commentating.
Right.
So
Yes.
it's drawing that fine line.
Yeah, you definitely are walking a good line there.
Mhm.
Pelle, so they often say when you look at somebody's portrait, like a painted portrait, you're not looking at the person in the portrait. You're looking at the artist's interpretation of the person in the portrait, right? You're actually learning as much about the artist as you are, and maybe even more, as you are about the person who's been painted.
Mm.
You are dressing people to show them off, but it's also, showing off your skills in your career. How do you balance that blend of identities?
That's a great question. I was never asked that question. I would have to say that every piece I create, it has a half of me inside, and half of the client, or half of the person I'm designing it for. So that's why two pieces won't look the same. I get the energy from the person, the way they present themselves. If they want to be loud, if they want to be quiet, if they're intimidating, if they're shy, introvert, extrovert, they want prominence, or they want to just to be classy. I work a lot, and there's a lot of discussions. So it's when I look at every piece that we do, I see the character of the person I'm making it for in there. I will never make a suit just like that. You want a gray suit, size 30? It's not me. There's many other places. But if you want the suit to be part of the way you speak, the way you communicate, this is what I enjoy. This is what I want. So when you look at the suit, you're also looking, what is the person wearing the suit? What is he's trying to tell me something. And you will never get it over here. You're going to get it inside. You're going to say, he's drawing me closer. He's building a rapport with me. And I have no idea why or how. And there's those little nuances that work with that. Yeah.
So a lot of it is getting to know, they're kind of your muse, right? They're the muse for the creation you're making.
Yes. Yeah.
And so from your point as a business owner, John Liu, you've got a relationship with. He is a client of yours. You also have a friendship. But he's somebody who is out there on TV in your clothes all the time. How important is that relationship to your business?
I don't think of that more than just John Liu is working, and he has certain goals or guidelines he needs to portray. Somebody who's I don't know, somebody who's going to his mother-in-law's, father-in-law's house for supper is just as interesting to me as somebody who's the president of a bank, or of the Montreal Canadiens. Everybody has their own story, and to get into their life, to be part of their life. So with John, it's very different, because John is the only one of the only ones who's able to articulate his thoughts. And it is his profession, obviously. But so when you get somebody who's able to articulate and to go deeper, the suit can't be shallow. There's a depth to it. Like the color of this suit that he's wearing, if it was any other color to distract his shoe, or distract his accessory, or to call too much attention, it's going to clash with John's character. Even the voice could be different if he wears something like that. So everybody has that balance. And just to jump into somebody's world, and to understand their what ticks, what makes them, what makes them move. And like the same questions I asked you, Craig, in the beginning of like before we started. I want to know your mother and your father. I want to know if you're the second child, first child, third child. I want to know how you grew up. These things are important to me when designing, because it's part of the character that you want to respect it in the garment. And with John, he has a lot of layers. So when he conveys the message, we want to capture that right, and it's exciting. It's exciting to do that.
Well, here's a picture that John sent me that I think says a lot about both of you. Clearly, you guys get each other. You appreciate each other, and the relationship clearly is more than just professional one, right? There's clearly a mutual respect there, and I don't think you can create something as novel and make it work as that suit that John's wearing if you don't have two people who respect and trust each other.
No, absolutely, Craig, because when we were discussing the process for this is in Pelly's and my collaboration over the years, this is definitely our magnum opus.
Mm-hmm.
For the amount of time that it took, the amount of thought and creativity and extra work, like the amount of hours that it took for Pelly to source everything, like the zipper in the vest, I think went through at least half a dozen zippers before he found the right one. Like not just looking at them, but actually getting them in hand and discovering that, well, throw that one out. That doesn't work. That one doesn't work. So the amount of time and energy and creativity and thought and conversation that goes into the work that we do together is it does speak to more than just a client and professional relationship. It's because we built a very close friendship over the years. And so I mean, it's always fun for me to come to Pelly with a concept and say, hey, what can we come up with this time? This is sort of what I'm thinking. And then Pelly says, I have just the right fabric, right? Just, it's really a very gratifying collaboration and honestly, it makes my profession, my career more fun, because when I can open up the closet door and it's like, today's the day for that suit or this jacket or whatever. And to be honest with you, Craig, it's like Pelly's been making my garments for almost 13 years now. I pretty much still have almost all of them. Mm-hmm. Because they're so well made, and we don't generally make choices that are going to date themselves, that are going to go out of style. Whether it's the pattern, we work off of the same pattern. Aside from this one, we work off of the same pattern with each jacket or each suit, and just alter the sizes as I might be expanding or contracting.
Well, that happens to the best, and in my case, the worst of us. How much action is that suit going to get going forward, John?
You mean in terms of wear?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's. We didn't actually answer your question about what it's made of. It's a jersey fabric made of cotton and linen, and so it's really light, like very soft, very comfortable, very light. Geared primarily for winter, but because of the color, it's kind of an oatmeal color. I can wear this year round, and so I feel like this is going to get a lot of wear. Year round.
So it's not straight sweatpant material. It's sort of a blend.
Oh no, it's not fleece. No, it's not like a Nike hoodie, fleece hoodie.
Right. Well, it's fantastic. Listen, gents, any final thoughts on the suit?
I'll leave it to Pelly, because you know what this is like. Bottom line, it's his creation, so Pelly gets the last word.
I think John's message was right when he came to me. He says everybody won't know. Everybody won't want to wear the same thing coming out of COVID, and there's gonna be a demand, a change, and he wanted to speak to his viewers that way. He wanted to tell them that there is a change. There's going to be something hopeful to look forward to in the future. Things will be better, and I think that message is conveyed in his garment. And this garment, you will see it over the time too. There's little surprises along the way when he wears it a different time. You probably won't even recognize it the second time he wears it. It's an evolution to this garment, and that's I think that communication with the audience, I think this is our biggest blessing, our biggest gift that John and I could both experience it. Just how everybody reacts, and they're like, yes, there's hope for, for comfort, for the future. So that is the biggest takeaway.
Well, I think the best thing about that suit, well, there's so many great things. Number one, it's fun. And, we are all just ready to have some fun now. It's been so hard. There's been so much job loss and illness and death that we need to come out of this to a better place where we can start enjoying what it means to be alive again, if we weren't already. And also, man, it's just so inspiring when you see two creative people who are brave in what they're doing put something together that is going to be both shocking and beautiful and fun, and just give us something great to talk about. So, gentlemen, thank you both so much for your time. Thank you both so much for your creation. And I got to say, when you put together something like that, you are indeed a business hero. And the Business Heroes wants to hear your story. Contact me at craig@colbyvision.net. I guarantee your story will sound epic with this cool music underneath it. Colbyvision can help you find and share your story. Writing, video, we do it all. We can also show you how to do your own simple videos and teach you how to do interviews for a podcast. Thanks to Dave White for the editing, Tim Vesely for the music, and Kevin Francisco for the graphics. And thanks for watching The Business Heroes. We'll see you next time for another exciting adventure.